AS Level Biology 9700, Paper 2, Variant 2, May June 2025. Question number 1. So, question number 1 is about root hair cell. Root hair cells are specialized plant cells located in the outer layer of young roots of plants. Root hair cells have an essential role in the uptake of water and dissolved mineral ions from the soil solution. So the transport of water across the roots to reach the central xylem tissue can occur by the symplast pathway or apoplast pathway. Apoplast pathway is that pathway by which the water moves through the cell wall. So in symplast pathway, the water moves through the cytoplasm and plasmodesmata. So in figure 1.1 is a diagram of photomicrograph of a root hair cell. They have labeled it with X, Y, and Z, and we have to write the name of the cell structures X, Y, and Z. So the X is a central large, single large vacuole. And you know, in plant cells, single vacuole is present in the center. So this is the vacuole. And Y is the membrane of the vacuole, which is tonoplast. And you know, the membrane of the vacuole is called as tonoplast. And you can see in the root hair cell a very small structure, which is nucleus. So these are the three parts of the cell which has been labeled by X, Y, and Z. Now I'm moving towards the next part of this question. In the symplast pathway, water passes through the cells of the different tissues in the root before entering the xylem vessels of xylem tissues. Name the tissues of the root in the correct sequence through which water passes in the symplast pathway. Already told you that the symplast pathway, the water move from cell to cell through cytoplasm and through the plasmodesmata are special structures which are present between the two cells. These are the small holes which are present between the cell walls. So water moves through the cytoplasm from one cell towards the other cell. So here the correct sequence of the cells to move from one water to move from one cell to the other will be, first of all, I would like to draw a small structure just to show you that how the water moves and what are the different parts. So root hair cell, the outermost layer is epidermis, and the next to epidermis the layer is cortex, and from cortex you can see uh, in the center this is the endodermis, and inside the endodermis you can see the pericycle, and in the center star-shaped xylem is there. So in this way, the water is absorbed through the root hair cells, and from the root hair cell, the water will enter into the root cortex. Epidermis, the outermost layer. From epidermis, it will move towards the cortex, and from cortex, it will move towards the endodermis. From endodermis, it will enter into the pericycle. And from pericycle, finally, the water enters into the xylem. vessels. So this is the correct sequence how the water is absorbed through the root hair cells, then it moves through these different parts. Well, we are moving towards the next question, and next question is, in the apoplast pathway, water passes along the cell walls of adjacent plant cells and through the intercellular spaces. This is more efficient than the symplast pathway. Explain the structural features of plant cell walls that make the apoplast pathway an efficient pathway for the transport of water. So in the apoplast pathway, the water moves through the cell walls, and whereas in the symplast pathway, the water has to move through the cytoplasm. So in this way, here they have asked us uh, how the apoplast pathway is an efficient pathway for transportation. So the apoplast pathway through the cell wall and intercellular spaces is more efficient. So why it is efficient? Because the plant cell wall is composed of cellulose microfibrils embedded in a matrix of hemicelluloses and pectin. So this forms a porous network. The cellulose make fibers make a crisscross arrangement in this way. You can see they are they make a crisscross arrangement, and due to this crisscross arrangement, you can see a pores are produced, due to this cellulose, the cell wall is uh, porous in nature, or it is permeable membrane. So it makes a permeable membrane. So this form may, due to the crisscross arrangement, I would like to write first point, that is the cell wall is composed of cellulose fibers, fibers due to crisscross arrangement of a porous network is formed. So due to which water easily move through these spaces, these pores or spaces, by, by mass flow, which offers very low resistance. Secondly, the water passes through cell wall, due to which the water does not have to cross the selectively permeable membrane. Does not have to cross the selectively permeable membrane. To enter into cytoplasm because it moving through cell walls. So due to this, which can be a slow process, a slow process, slower process than bulk movement through the porous cell wall. Then bulk movement through the porous cell wall. Simply in this question, you have to compare both types of pathways. That is the symplast pathway and the apoplast pathway. Moving to the next part, root hair cells also synthesize and secrete substance into the soil. Electron microscopy of the structure of root hairs has identified endoplasmic reticulum, a number of small Golgi bodies, and numerous vesicles. So here you can see that the electron microscopy of the structure of root hair cells. So they contain uh, endoplasmic, rough endoplasmic reticulum, or smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So the number of small Golgi bodies and numerous vesicles. So you know the role of endoplasmic reticulum, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulums have ribosomes attached on them. They are involved in protein synthesis, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they don't have ribosomes attached on them, so they are involved in lipid synthesis. So small Golgi bodies, they are helpful in the modification of synthesized protein, and numerous vesicles after the completion or modification of the protein, they are stored in the numerous vesicles. So these are the different structures of the root hair cells. So root hair cells of the barley plant secrete enzymes known as acid phosphatases. So acid phosphatase enzyme. So it means enzymes are protein in nature. So which catalyze the reaction, release of inorganic phosphatines from organic phosphate into the soil. Second statement, root hair cells of this sorghum plant secretes a hydrophobic water-hating lipid compound known as the sorolevon, which slows down the growth of neighboring plants. Sorgolevon, it is a lipid compound. So acid phosphatase enzyme, which is a protein, and hydrophobic lipid compound is sorgolevon. So both or they have different nature. One of them is the protein, and the second one is the lipid. So here we have to explain why the proportion of rough endoplasmic reticulum to smooth endoplasmic reticulum may be different in the root hair cells of barley plants compared with the root hair cells of sorghum plants. The the upper one, barley plants, acid phosphatase, which is a enzyme. I have told you it is a protein, and enzymes are protein in nature. And on the other hand, in the sorghum, sorghum golivon is a lipid. So they may be different. Both of they are producing the different products, so they are the different. So first of all, I would like to go with the barley root hair cells. So these cells secrete acid phosphatase, which are enzyme and chemically proteins. So proteins destined for secretion are synthesized on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So processed through the Golgi body, therefore Barley cells will have a high proportion of rough endoplasmic reticulum. So I would like to write the answer over here. That is already um, which is protein in nature and are and is synthesized on rough endoplasmic reticulum because the ribosomes are attached on them. So then processed through the Golgi. So higher proportion of rough endoplasmic reticulum. On the other hand, the sorghum root hair cells secrete sorgolin or a hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means water hitting, and you know the lipids are immiscible. They cannot dissolve in water, so they are called as hydrophobic. So lipids are synthesized in smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So Bolivan is lipid which is synthesized on smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So they will have high proportion of smooth endoplasmic reticulum because they need different requirement. They are making the different products. That is the reason they will have the different cells which are specialized to produce and secrete different classes of macromolecules. Differently require the cell structures for synthesis of different macromolecules. One is protein and second one is the lipid molecule. So both of them are the macromolecules. Now the next question. Student X stated that acid phosphatase and sorgolin could be transported out of the root hair cells using the same process. Uh, root hair cells, they will be moved out. So student Y stated that acid phosphatase and sorgoline 1 are transported out of the root hair cells using different processes. So there are two students X and Y. Both of they have the different statements. So one said that they will be transported out of the root hair cells using the same process. They can be, or the other said no, they will be moved out through the different processes because the nature of both of these macromolecules is different. So, but they are produced on the endoplasmic reticulum on different endoplasmic reticulums. That is, one of them is produced on the uh, rough endoplasmic reticulum and the other on the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So, suggest the reason given by student X and by the student Y to support their statements. So, so I would like to go. First of all, we will discuss what the student X presented the reason. So, acid phosphatase and sorgoline are transported out through the same process, and same process is the exocytosis. So, according to the student X, exocytosis is the process by which these secretion acid phosphatase enzyme and one lipid are excreted, are transported transported out. So both of they are exocytosis. So substance lipid, uh, complexed with the protein are packed into vesicles at the Golgi body. Both of they are packed. Lipid is more complex than protein, so they both of they are uh, packed into vesicles at the Golgi body. And released by the fusion of the vesicle membrane a common method for bulk excretion. Secretion. So it was the logic presented by student X. Now the student Y. Now the student Y, acid phosphatase and sorgoline are transported out using different processes. According to him, the both molecules have different nature. Different nature. Acid phosphatase is hydrophilic Hydrophilic means water loving, which can dissolve into water. And large, requiring the active process. Requiring active process of exocytosis. Whereas the other Sargoli one is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic, so allowing it to move across the lipid bilayer by simple diffusion. By simple diffusion. By simple diffusion uh, down the concentration gradient. And you know, it is a passive uh, process, very slow. So it was all about question number one. Students, please like, share, and subscribe my channel to watch more videos and the on the next questions. Wait for the next video for the other question. Thanks for watching.